honest answers to awkward questions with Lucy Maskell. Sponsored by Urban Saints.
Hello, across London, DAB radio, online, worldwide, premiergospel.org.uk. I'm Lucy Maskell, here with you till 7 p.m. on the show that gives you an awkward topic, some great music, and a special guest every week. If you're looking to have a safe, nice Christian discussion that makes you feel comfortable, well, I'm sorry, but this isn't it. The next 2 hours are about facing the awkward topics that a lot of Christians don't like to talk about. Probably because it's quite awkward, as the show suggests, or it's just seen as inappropriate. But I believe that God really cares about you and the things that you struggle with as well. So tonight we're going to be talking about pornography. We're going to be talking about how Jesus loves porn stars. And my special guest all the way from America will be chatting about his experience too. So before we get down to business, let's play a few songs. We'll be back. Thank you for tuning in to Awkward. If this is your first time listening in, thank you so much. We're live from London, broadcasting worldwide right into your house, or if you're having an amazing barbecue or picnic today, in your garden. So if you like a Sunday shout out, let me know where you're listening. Tweet me at Premier Gospel, post a hello on our Facebook wall, facebook.com/Premier Gospel, or you can drop me a text with the first word, gospel, plus your message to 66777. That's 66777. So, on tonight's topic. Oh, it's going to be quite awkward tonight. We're talking about porn-again Christians. Yeah, that's right. Addiction to porn is one of the most difficult addictions to overcome. Did you know, here's some statistics, that sex and porn are the most top 5 search terms for kids under 18. 43% of all internet users view porn, with 1 out of 3 being female. 12% of websites are pornographic, which means there are about 24 million plus websites, and that's rising. And the most popular day of the week for watching porn is a Sunday. But do you know what? I think it's because people haven't found out about my show. That's my opinion. Anyway, altogether, the internet porn industry makes about a whopping $4.9 billion a year. 4.9 billion, that's a lot. 34% of internet users have experienced unwanted exposure to porn, either through pop-up ads or misdirected emails/links. So those are the statistics I got off xxxchurch.com, which you can find out now. Just log on xxxchurch.com. There's a lot of different facts on there. And today I've got Paul Robinson, not the bad guy from Neighbours, unfortunately. No, it's good to have Paul, from xxxchurch.com. He is a blogger there. He is based out in Detroit, but he's originally from Ireland. He is with XXX Church, which is a ministry that seek to help people of all ages overcome porn addiction through prevention, through recovery as well. So, Paul, welcome to the show.
Yeah, well, my name is Paul Robinson. Like you said, I live in Detroit now, but I'm from Belfast originally, and I'm a blogger for XXXchurch.com, and I'm also a XP group leader for XXX Church. And yeah, so I've been involved with the ministry probably for about 3 or 4 years now, blogging for them for about that length of time, and then in the last couple of years I've been leading one of our XP groups, which is our accountability groups that we run online. So yeah, that's pretty much why I'm involved.
Brilliant. And tell me more about XXX Church. Like, I've been following them, since day 10, probably not day 1, but day 10. And I know there'll be a lot of people here who haven't heard of XXXchurch.com. So would you be able to tell the people more about that?
Yeah, well, XXXchurch.com is basically a website started by Craig Gross, probably about 12 years ago now. Basically raising awareness about porn addiction in churches, also offering resources for those who are struggling and who want to break free. And yeah, we do a lot of stuff on that side of things. With we have accountability software called X3 Watch, which is software that you download onto your computer or your phone or iPad or anything really, which basically records everything that you look on online and sends an email to a friend or a pastor or whoever that can keep you accountable.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So how did you actually get involved with that? Because it would be great. We've got so much to talk about. We can talk about the groups that you're part of in XXX Church. We can also talk about a bit about your story. So would it be okay, Paul, just let's just go into it. What's your story and porn?
Yeah. Well, I guess my first kind of introduction to porn would have been when I was about 11 or 12 years old. I think the first time I ever saw porn was at a friend's house. He had some images on the computer, and that was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. And kind of as I grew a bit older, like 12 or 13, I started to buy a lot of like lads mags, kind of typical FHM, that kind of stuff. And yeah, basically started, I think probably the next few years, kind of getting addicted to the porn. Once we got online, internet at home, that made it so much easier. I was able to access anything I wanted anytime. And yeah, so just basically for the next, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, a little bit more, was just addicted to porn. It wasn't really until I reached kind of university age I first opened up to someone about it. That was actually kind of around the time when I first heard about Triple X Church. So I was online one day. I think it was Don Miller blog. He was talking about porn, and he had a link to the website, so I checked it out, and kind of saw these amazing videos that they were doing. And I mean, I never heard about porn in church or anything, so to kind of hear about a church that was talking about porn as their sole focus was pretty amazing to me. And yeah, I think through watching some of their porn confession videos that they used to do, I started to realize that I could be open about this kind of stuff. And yeah, I told a friend at uni, and he helped me kind of stay accountable for a while, and it was really helpful then. Over the next few years, I've told other people, other close friends who have done the same. And so yeah, I think it's probably about 7+ years that I've been sober from porn, and just basically through being open with people and being honest and having conversations that a lot of people are afraid to have.
Definitely. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing your story, Paul. It's so good to be open. I think a lot of the time in church, we can, appear that we're perfect or appear that we've got it all together, but actually, things like porn, like a lot of Christians struggle with. And I think it's good that you're so open about it. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of freedom not only in your life, but people you're working with, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the big thing about it is that, most guys don't want to talk about it because they probably think that they're the only one that looks at porn. And so when you think that way, then there's a lot of shame attached to that, and a lot of fear, obviously, because you just don't want to expose yourself that way. And so, yeah, I think for myself personally and to everybody I've spoken to and guys I work with, probably the number one thing that is common in getting clean from porn is just being open with people regularly and just having honest conversations.
Yeah, well, that honesty you're talking about, I think, like you say, is quite hard within church. I don't know what it's like, obviously, out in the US now, you live in there, and then you lived in Ireland, but like I think here in the UK, I always get the sense that things like pornography and other awkward topics we talked about actually on the show are things that we just, we put under, the carpet, we sweep it under, go, let's pretend it's not there. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, well, I think as far as sex and porn is concerned, those are kind of things that, porn addiction and sex addiction, these are kind of things that are maybe considered by a lot of people to be like really bad sins. So, not praying enough is kind of a sin that some people are, find easy to kind of confess to, but then confessing to porn addiction is a different matter completely. So I think that's the main reason. We just kind of have this idea that there's some sins that are worse than others, and
like a hierarchy going, oh, well,
yeah.
porn is worse than gossiping about someone kind of thing. Yeah. No,
Cool.
Definitely. Well, I think that's really true. So, Paul, what would you say then to maybe people right now who are listening in? What's something, like, give me a fact, like I was saying about all the statistics about, I can't believe the porn industry on the internet makes $4.9 billion a year. Like, whew, that's like more than, well, probably half of Bill Gates, like...
Yeah.
Tell me more about statistics and things.
Yeah, well, I think statistics. I think there needs to be a lot more done in statistics. I think some of the statistics are a little bit old, but I think just the fact that the amount of technology has advanced in the last few years just kind of shows that even those statistics, which are really massive and large, are probably actually maybe a little bit on the low side today, just because everything's done online now and it's so much easier to access, and
It's free. It's all free as well. A lot of it's
Yeah,
free, right? You know, you
yeah,
can type it in and it's there. Like, whereas, you know, like before you're talking about like Loaded and Nuts and all these magazines, you just have to go to a newsagent. You have to pay for it and you have
yeah,
to go up to someone and actually find it. Whereas you can do it more in secret, right? On the internet.
yeah, exactly. I mean, the first time I ever bought a magazine, it was like this big kind of nervous event for me, and it was, there's like a lot more. You have to really build yourself up to do it, and you're afraid of being seen by people you might know or any of that kind of stuff. And then you have to go and pay for it, and you have to have face-to-face kind of encounter with someone. But so, nowadays you can just go to your bedroom. If you've got a smartphone of any kind, you can look at anything really, anytime, anywhere.
Absolutely. Whew. Well, we've got a lot to talk about with porn, so it'd be great to stay on the line. We're only like warming up here, but we're going to be talking more about why pornography is such a taboo, especially within the church, because I think a lot of people are quite open about it. They're like, yeah, look at porn, it's not a big deal. Look at it a few times, you know, a day. It's a lot of people say, but actually, I think we're called to be, as Christians, leaders in the conversation about porn, because it's such a epidemic addiction that needs to be addressed. So if you tweet me at Premier Gospel, you can text me gospel 66777, or you can add a Facebook message to facebook.com/Premier Gospel. Let me know, why do you think pornography is such a secret within the church? There are a lot of pastors, there are a lot of youth workers, that struggle with it, but just don't seem to be able to open. Why do you think that is? Let me know what you think. Well, I just wanted to say I've got a brilliant text message. Thank you to everybody who texted in and tweeted in as well their thoughts on pornography. Someone texted in saying, great that you are tackling the subject on porn within our churches. It is destroying lives, families, and it's demonic. I know because I too was an addict all my teenager and adult life, but now I'm free by the blood of Jesus. Keep it real. Woo! What do you think, Paul?
Cool, yeah, awesome.
Wow. Whew. It's great to get comments like that. Well, keep them coming. Tweet me at Premier Gospel. Let me know what you think about how we can help people overcome porn addiction. Or maybe you disagree. Maybe you think porn is a good thing. Let me know. Tweet me at Premier Gospel, facebook.com/Premier Gospel 2. So back to the show. So Paul, tell me more about some stories. You lead a Triple X Church group, which is a bunch of you Skyping and meeting up as well and talking about your struggles. Is that right?
Yeah, well, we started these groups a couple of years ago. They're called X3 groups. We have a website, x3groups.com. And so basically it's a group of about, I think groups hold about 10 guys. I think there's about 20 groups for guys now, and we've got 3 for women, which has started since the start of the year. It's just basically a place where guys who are struggling with porn addiction, and other things, maybe like prostitution, or other sex addiction related things, can just meet together, be open, really just encourage each other, and kind of get rid of that shame that we sometimes feel when we struggle with something like porn addiction. So I've got about 10 guys in my group, from all over the world actually.
Wow, where can I ask where in the world? That sounds amazing.
Yeah, well, most of my guys are in the States. We've got a guy from New Zealand, one from the UK actually, Malta even. So I think it's been a really great way for guys to kind of see that they're not the only one, and even there's guys all over the world who struggle with this. So it's been amazing for the last couple of years.
Wow, you must have had so many, different stories. Obviously, there's that confidentiality issue that obviously you can't share totally everything that's happened. But would you be able to share with us just one story of maybe someone, recovering or obviously in the midst of recovering from porn addiction?
Yeah, well, I've got a few guys in my groups who have been there for quite a long time. And a lot of guys have been there for a long time. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're always struggling. It just means that they're kind of a part of this community. They understand that this is a big part of their recovery, and so they just want to keep that going. But I've got a couple of guys in my group who have been sober for over a year now. They've been both in the group for one guy's been for over a year, and they've both been over for a year. One's been a bit longer, but and they're both now doing really well, and they're actually going to be leading their own groups now, their own FC groups. So I think what we kind of want guys to understand is that they're loved and that they don't have to be afraid of talking about these things. But most importantly, it's not just about getting sober for the sake of being sober, but we want guys to really experience full life. And obviously, porn can be a very selfish thing. You look at it on your own. Usually, it's about making yourself feel good. And so, whenever we can get to the point where we're actually wanting to help other people who struggle, that's a really cool thing. So I've got a couple of guys here at that point now, and it's been really awesome to watch their stories kind of evolve.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing a bit of, your friends' stories as well, because, multiplying groups, that's going to impact so many more people in different states in America. So actually, would it be okay if you could share with me and just the people who are listening as well more about your story? Because obviously you don't sound American. You're from Ireland, right? But you're in America. Tell me a bit about that, how you moved to America with the Triple X Church.
Yeah, well... Yeah, I'm from Belfast originally. Grew up there my whole life. I went to university in Scotland, so I was there for 4 years. But I've lived in Ireland pretty much my whole life, and I met my wife at Bible College in Belfast. She's American. She's from Detroit. So we got married, and we've been married for 4 years almost. And so whenever we got married, she was still studying, and she had like a year left of her school, and so we got married, and then in November her visa was expiring, and so we were kind of weighing up whether we should stay there for a bit longer or whether we should move to Detroit. So last May or so we decided to move to Detroit, and we've been here since November, almost 7 months, which is kind of crazy, and so it's been really good, kind of getting used to American culture and.
Getting used to it, like different language as well, hey? It's soccer, football,
Yeah.
all these different things.
I really can't change to it. Find that really hard, but...
Sorry to all the Americans listening, by the way, but, tweet me at Premier Gospel, let me know what it's like to move to America. Well, anyway, Paul, I want to ask you a bit more few more awkward questions, and if you're listening right now to the show, if you're a bit of a lurker, you're listening, but you're not really interacting, you can do it at Premier Gospel, tweet me, or you can text me, first word gospel, 66777. If you've got a question you want to ask about pornography, I'll keep it anonymous, I won't say your name, you could just tweet me, and I'll ask Paul some really awkward questions. So, Paul, I'm going to ask you one first question, which I think everybody is probably thinking about. Right, you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Right, okay. So with pornography, we're talking about this on a Christian radio station in London, and a lot of people struggle with porn in the church, whether you don't go to church. But I was going to ask, what's so wrong with it? What's so wrong with masturbation? What's so wrong with trying to get an orgasm? What's so wrong with, trying to knock one out, really? What's wrong with that?
Yeah, well, I think, when it comes to, pornography and masturbation and stuff like that, I think we're not kind of trying to tell people that it's, what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, but I think we're just trying to kind of, raise awareness and share stories of guys who have struggled with porn. Maybe you can look at porn and lead a really healthy life, but, I've met lots of guys who whose marriages have been on the verge of breaking up, who's actually lost marriages. We've met people who've actually gone to prison over porn addiction. So I think that, those are definitely very obvious reasons why porn might not be the best thing for you. But I think what porn really does is it kind of isolates people from others, and it harms community. I think for me, one of the biggest things that I really struggled with was feeling a part of church, feeling a part of life with other Christians, and that was a lot to do with shame and the guilt I was carrying around. But so I think those are kind of definite. There's a couple of reasons why it's not great, but there's so many more that you could use as well.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for giving a bit of your opinion on that. I am going to keep probing you about that, about what's so wrong with porn, because, a lot of people do it. We have, as we have sex shops here in London. We've got, free porn on the internet. It's practically in cinemas, 18 rated films and things. So if everyone's watching it, what's the big deal? If it helps you, what's wrong with it? But as you said, Paul, it's the isolation, right? It's the shame that you feel that isn't, you think isn't right.
Yeah. I think it's probably, a bigger issue in the church, because I think for a lot of guys, they kind of understand that maybe porn is bad, it's not good for you, but it's a really difficult addiction to break. So there's kind of two sides of you where you want to stop but you can't, and that just like creates this kind of tension inside you, and
it's an addiction, isn't it? It has you rather than you have it, right?
Yeah, I think that's something that's like, I think so for the course that we use for the FC Groups, we have a book called Pure Eyes, and it talks about addiction being kind of just as powerful, maybe even more powerful as some drugs. So I think there's definitely an addiction element to it where it's not just a simple choice where you stop. You really need to like do some things to kind of counter it and
to overcome it, right? So it's that support, that community, as like you said, porn kind of isolates you. It's quite a, me-focused thing where you're just on your own, you're doing it, and, nobody gets hurt. But, like you said, it's this isolation, and we weren't built for that. We were built for community. So, Paul, I'm going to stop you there. I've got to play a few songs. I'm going to put pause on that. But if you're listening, tweet me at Premier Gospel. Let me know, one, where you are listening, because it'd be great to hear where you are, but also what questions you have. Do you think porn and masturbation is a big deal in the church? Do you think we talk about it enough? I don't think we do. But why do you think that is? How do you think we can overcome it? All these different questions I'm going to put out there. But yeah, just let me know your comments. Here's how you get in touch. We're going to be back.
Call 020 7316 0101. Text Gospel to 66777 or tweet at Premier Gospel.
Yep, across London DAB radio and online premiergospel.org.uk. This is Awkward, the show that gives honest answers to awkward questions. Woo! It's going to be a good one tonight. So, it's 6 o'clock right now in the UK. My name's Lucy Maskell, here with you till 7, and we're talking tonight about pornography. Yep, that's a bit awkward, but hey, we should address it. I think as Christians, a lot of the time we put things under the carpet because we think, because we know Jesus now, everything's going to be perfect. But actually, that's not the gospel. The gospel is we're broken, we need help, and the only way we can change is not through our own self-help books, our own efforts, but through the Holy Spirit. So, Paul Robinson, hello Paul, how you doing?
I'm good.
Brilliant. Well, it's good to have you on the show tonight. Can I just read you a letter from another guy called Paul, actually? You might be familiar with this. Let me go. So it says, it happens so regularly that it's predictable. The moment I decide to do good, sin is there to trip me up. I truly delight in God's commands, but it's pretty obvious that not all of me joins in that delight. Parts of me want to rebel, and just when I least expect it, they take charge. I've tried everything, and nothing helps. I'm at the end of my rope. Is there no one who can do anything for me? Isn't that the real question? The answer, thank God, is that Jesus Christ can and does. He acted to set things right in this life of contradictions, where I want to serve God with all my heart and mind, but am pulled by the influence of sin to do something totally different. So that letter, ladies and gentlemen, was from St. Paul in Romans chapter 7 from the Bible. So he's talking a lot about the struggle that we have between, what we want to do, what we know is right, but actually something in us is like, the easy way out is just to give in to temptation, give in to, my own selfishness. And I think porn is a lot like that. But Paul Robinson, who is my guest, don't want to confuse them, what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I think I've read that. I've read that so many times, and I doubt that Paul necessarily talk about porn addiction, but I think it's definitely something that is so familiar. And yeah, I'm always like, I think when we read the Bible, there's all these stories about these people who are really holy and kind of God really favors them and stuff. And when we look at their lives, a lot of them are kind of really messed up. And that particular part that you just read has always been really comforting to me, just to think, if Paul can struggle with something and really wants to stop but he can't, then I'm in good company. So I think it's a really cool part of the Bible, that, because I think it shows that we don't have to have shame, we don't have to have guilt carried around with us, because probably the people that you least expected are struggling with the same things that you are. So it's good to be open about them.
No, definitely. I think it's really like good that you said to be open. Like a lot of the time, like porn brings shame, it brings guilt, it brings a lot of fear actually, like the fear of getting caught or fear of someone maybe finding it, delete the internet history, maybe different things
Yeah.
like that. Thank you so much by the way for writing an article for me, Fresh Thoughts blog. You can check it out. Actually, I'll post it up on the social media, so you can read the article. It's called Me Too. Paul wrote something actually, wrote loads of things, but one of the main things he wrote was the enemy isn't porn industry stuff, isn't people in the porn industry, it's actually low self-esteem or searching for connection in the wrong places. This is what those in the porn industry and consumers of porn have in common. Tell me more about that, Paul.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the time, when the church talks about porn, they obviously see the porn industry as evil, and there's probably elements of it that are corrupt and are really like evil and stuff. But I think the porn industry is made up of people, just like the church is. I think a lot of the time, if you actually meet people from the porn industry, you kind of find out that their stories are kind of similar to a lot of people who were brought up in the church and who are religious. And I think it's good. It's a good place to start where we see everybody as equal. I think if we want to reach people like porn stars and people who produce porn and stuff, then the best way isn't to kind of condemn them and to yell at them and protest them, but it's actually engage with them, talk with them, just be with them and not have any kind of ulterior motives or anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with xxchurch.com, actually, you do a lot of outreach to the porn industry. You go to porn conventions and give out Jesus Loves Porn Star Bibles. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, well, we've been doing that pretty much since day one. So I think when Craig started XXX Church, one of the things they wanted to do was to go into porn shows and just kind of share Jesus' love with the people that they met, both people in the industry and consumers who were there buying stuff. I mean, if you go to these porn shows, there'll always be people outside holding, placards and banners, kind of telling people that they're going to go to hell and things like that. And I think what we try and do is kind of imitate Jesus. And if Jesus was here, where would he be going? Where would he be hanging out? Who would the people that he socialize with? Who would they be? And I think for the modern day, porn stars would probably be one of those groups of people. We're just trying to do that. We're not going in there, condemning people. We're not going in there trying to change them completely. We just want to show that they're loved unconditionally. And I think for a lot of them, like I said before, a lot of them have kind of a religious background, and that's probably not the message that they've heard. So it's really cool to like show them what Jesus is really like. And
it must really shock them, and maybe in a good way. Like, do you ever get any kind of negative press on that? Do people, or actually people standing outside, the convention who are shouting, condemning things? Do you get a lot of bad negative press and then going, "Why are you going in there? Jesus wouldn't go in there."
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of that happens. But I think people just associate porn industry with something that you shouldn't be part of. It's dangerous. But I mean, whenever we go into shows, we go in as teams. We usually have local churches who partner with us. Usually, we go in and it's a safe environment because, we're together. We have people praying for us. But it's not about. We just you listen to those voices for long enough, and then you kind of realize, well, what's the alternative? The alternative is to join them, and I don't think that really helps anybody.
No, definitely. I think, like you said, you kind of shine a light more. I think, what is it, something like Craig Gross actually wrote in one of his books. Craig Gross, by the way, is the founder of XXX Church, if you just tuned in. He said, don't blame the dark for being dark, but blame the light for not shining in the dark. And I think that's actually what you guys are doing, isn't it? You're not just staying outside the picket sign, which is actually the easy way out to say, this is sinful, how dare you, God hates you or something, which, as we know, is not true. Jesus loves porn stars. He loves the people that are made in his image, but porn is something, like, I believe, is a distortion of sex, of which God created. God knows the original design of sex. So to have porn, isn't exactly the original design. But I think what you guys are doing is amazing because you're showing a completely different side of Christianity that a lot of people, especially Christians, don't understand. I mean, I was looking at your hate mail page. You've got a hate mail page, haven't you,
Yeah.
on the website? And it's quite cringe, but it's also quite sad as well because I think, wow, Jesus, got a lot of hate from doing outrageous things, didn't he?
Yeah. I think, I think Jesus came for the sick, and that's just what we're trying to do. We're not trying to, we're all the sick. We all need saved, and I think that's what we're trying to do. But I think, like you said, it's so much easier to stand outside a porn show and protest. I mean, that's really the thing to do. You can just go say your piece and then leave and feel like you've done something for God. But actually having relationships with people who are in the porn industry, who probably disagree with on porn and sex, to actually live with them every day and just to engage with them is a lot harder. But I think that's that's what Jesus did, and so we're just trying to copy that. And like Craig Gross, who started Triple X Church, he's really good friends with Ron Jeremy, who's like probably the biggest porn star in the world.
He's brilliant, isn't he? He's got a proper porn tash as well. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so it's that kind of thing where two guys who can disagree on a lot of stuff can still be civil to each other, can still they can have a debate together in churches or in schools, and then leave and just have dinner together and just have a normal life together, and that can be really, I think it's just really inspiring, and it's just what Jesus did, I think. Absolutely.
I think building relationships, like you said, is much harder to do with maybe an industry or like people, because they're people in it. It's not just an industry, with people that might not agree with everything that they do, but building that relationship and loving them anyway is more of a challenge. And I think it's a bit like the Good Samaritan. It's the parable of that, and it's also loving your neighbour as yourself. Like, I think that is a step up. Like, we're called to love everybody regardless of whether we agree with them or not, and I think that's amazing. But anyway, I'm going to have to put a pause again on this chat, but I'm going to play a few songs. But anyway, if you're listening in, whether you're listening, London DAB Radio, online, premiergospel.org.uk, let me know if you've got any questions or comments. Do you think it's okay for Christians to go into a porn convention and give out Bibles? Do you think that's outrageous and we shouldn't do that because it causes temptation? Or do you think we should do it because we stand out? Or maybe you go to porn conventions yourself and you think, it's not a big deal, why are you doing an outreach? Let me know. Here is how you can get in touch. 34% of internet users, they open up an email and they get an advert for maybe Viagra or, pornography, and, to click on it, go, hey, this is a website. Or maybe you're on Twitter. I get this sometimes. You get a little inbox, or someone tries to follow you who's actually turns out to be like something to do with porn, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to block that. Tell me more about, some information, some experiences, some stats about that. I mean, do you get those emails as well?
Yeah, well, I think I probably don't get them as much as I used to. Probably because I filtered on my computer that try to block out as much of that as possible. So I think there's times when it's really easy to block porn. We can put filters on our computer, or we can put software on that will tell someone if they try to access porn. And then obviously there's those times where it's kind of hard to avoid, and I think when those times happen, it's good to kind of put ad blocks on your computer, or even just have someone who you're accountable to, who you can like call and say, nothing's happened necessarily, but I just wanted to let you know about this and where I'm at and stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's a big issue, isn't it? Because porn is like everywhere. It's not just like, oh, like you said, we go to a lads mag, on the top shelf. Let's cover that up. But like you said, it's also on social media. It's on your emails. I get pop-up ads sometimes. So I'm like, what? I did not ask for this. I don't want to marry a Russian bride. I get weird things like that as well. But anyway, yeah, I haven't clicked on that because that'd be a bit strange. I was just gonna say, like, what software is there? Because I know Triple X Church have some kind of software, don't you?
Yeah, we have X3 Watch, which is our free software that you can download, and you can use it on your computer, your PC, your Mac, your iPad. You pretty much use it on everything. And so you just download that. And what it does is you put in like the email list of a few people that you're close to, your best friend or youth pastor or something like that. So anytime you try to access porn or click on porn, it'll send a report to your accountability partner, so they'll be able to know if you tried to click on porn.
That's quite scary, isn't it? I mean, may I ask, like, where did you start using that when you realised you kind of needed to overcome this?
Yeah, I downloaded it pretty quickly after I kind of first heard about it. It's been a really good tool for me. Just to, like, I think more than anything, it's just kind of a bit of security, knowing that I'm going to have to have an awkward conversation with someone if something comes to them, and so it's been really great that way. And we also have a version that you can pay for. I think it's something like $7 a month. So that works out about, I think, £4 or £5 a month.
That's nothing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very cheap, and it has filters on it, and a lot more kind of protection things that you can use. And yeah, I think filters and stuff are really great, and I would totally be lost without them. But I think the point of them isn't that there's someone on the other end of our computer who will point a finger at us or condemn us. But it's just about starting conversations with people. So if someone gets a report from me that shows something that maybe I shouldn't be looking at, they can call me up or text me or whatever, and
have you found that quite effective then within your X3 groups? If you've just tuned in, we were talking about how Paul helps lead some groups in people around the world. You Skype, you meet up in person, some of them, and yeah, you chat about the struggle. So sorry, repeat my question. Does it you see effects, that you see some actual progress in a way?
Yeah, definitely. I think the great thing about the groups has been for some guys who maybe haven't done accountability before, or for the very first time they're admitting to someone that they've looked at porn. There's a group of guys who initially they don't even know, but eventually they get to know really well. If you're in the group for long enough, you can start to share what are the kind of common things for you that are triggers. So we all know what the triggers are for each other, and so we know when to pray for each other. And we also have a forum that we use that everyone in the group can access, which basically you can, if you're at home alone and you're going to struggle with porn, you can leave a message on this and everybody in the group will see it, and we can just leave, encouraging remarks for each other, and we can pray for each other. And I just think the more that we're open about it with other people, the easier it is, and the more that sobriety can be really possible.
No, definitely. I think it's the shame and the guilt, like we were talking about before, that people find really struggle with. That's why people don't want to talk about it, right? How do you think we can overcome that, Paul? With the shame. Let's say someone's listening in now who is really struggling with porn. They could be a pastor or a youth worker even. What would you say to them?
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, if you're just a normal person, not someone who's in ministry or necessarily, if you're just a normal person, I think it can be really difficult because you think you're the only person, you think that no one else will understand, and so it can be really, really difficult. But my experience has always been, when I find someone who I can trust, like a friend or whoever, it's been really difficult to do. The initial kind of telling them this is what's been going on in my life and I need help with this. But once I do, I find that kind of opens them up to be honest with me. And that can be just such an amazing thing to happen. I think it's about finding someone who you can trust. And as far as people who are in ministry, I think we kind of think that porn is something that doesn't affect people like that. People who lead churches or lead pastors or lead prophets.
They come across as maybe because they're a ministry, they must be superhuman. But actually, they're humans just like everyone else, right? They're broken as much as anyone else.
Yeah, I think for me, I've had to be more careful, and I've had to really be sure that my accountability software is working, and that I have people that I can go to. I think I've had to be more careful since I've started writing for Triple X Church and leading groups, because I think I'm probably in some ways if you're in a ministry that's attacking porn, you're probably one of the people who might be attacked the most. So what we preach, almost.
Exactly, that accountability is really important. I think accountability can be quite a scary word, can't it? Because it sounds like, oh, like you said, judgmental and condemnation. But accountability is really important. I remember, what was it? When I was about 10 years old, I remember I was just on the internet and I accidentally found some porn on the computer, and it made me feel really like weird. I knew there was something not quite right, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this isn't okay, you know, what is this? You know, I was only 10, but I remember now, like I'm 23 right now, and I still remember that first image I saw, and you know, it really messed me up, because I thought, I don't know what this is, I feel really ashamed looking at it. And I remember when I went to uni a few years ago, God put in my life like a few girls who really struggled with porn, and you know, I could say the same. I could say, I've struggled with it too. You know, like, it's okay. You don't have to feel shame. You don't have to feel guilt. You know, like, through Jesus, there is freedom. And I think it takes, like you said, you wrote in your article, it takes one person to say, you know, me too. You know, you're not a pervert. You know, you're not, nothing wrong with you. It's actually like, you know, you just need healing. Like, it's some kind of connection, some kind of, you know, love that you actually need, right?
Exactly. And yeah, I think that's kind of why we kind of talk about porn. You know, we take it seriously. We know it's something that really harms a lot of people, and it can have the potential to destroy marriages and, you know, relationships. But I think we like to talk about it with some humor and some tongue in cheek, because I think that kind of relaxes people a little bit to the topic, and it shows that we, you know, it's something that we take seriously, but we're open to talk about it, and we're not going to judge you, and it's okay to.
Yeah, your humour's quite funny, actually. I'll talk a bit about it after a few songs, but I love, like, you know, me and Paul, right, are Facebook friends, and your cover photos, first thing I saw was, don't spank that monkey. I just thought it was hilarious. You know, like, tell me more about, the different things that Triple X Church do, because, like, you know, don't kill more kittens. I love it. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we have a lot of things like that. The don't spank the monkey kind of slogan is kind of one to, like, a reminder to people, you know, what we're talking about, but also, you know, we're not taking it too seriously. That, you know, people are closed off to talking about it with us. I just think it's a good way to open conversations, and I think you can take things really seriously, but be relaxed about them as well. I think that's what we try to do. The kittens videos is something that we made a long time ago, but it's kind of tongue in cheek, and so it's. Yeah.
Yeah, to anyone who's just tuned in, probably like, why are they talking about kittens? There's some really funny videos on, if you go on the YouTube channel or join xxxchurch.com, there's some videos that say, don't spank that monkey, don't bash that bishop, don't masturbate, because somewhere in the world you have killed a kitten, which I thought was quite funny and quite odd, but I think, like you said, to embrace such a serious addiction or a serious stronghold in people's lives is to address it with humour as well.
Yeah.
I've just had a tweet in from Amos, who is a faithful listener from Uganda. Shout out to you, Amos. He said he uses the Triple X Church software, and he says it's pretty good. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So Paul, we're going to chat more about what porn does, generally, to how it relates to sex, how it helps, or some people see it helps, and some people see it as not helping. How we view sex in real life. So we're going to talk about that after a few songs. So don't go away. Across London, DAB radio and online, premiergospel.org.uk. This is Awkward, the show that gives honest answers to awkward questions. And we have only, not that long left till we finish the show, but it's been a great show. I have Paul Robinson on the phone from Detroit talking about pornography. Well, that was awkward. So, Paul, I've got a question for you about porn. Like, a lot of people say that porn's okay, it helps them with their sex life, or it relieves maybe that tension they've got. Maybe they're thinking of, a sexy lady or a sexy man. I think, you know what, it's fine. Porn's okay because it helps me, not go out and do other things. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I think, a lot of the guys I talk to about porn, and a lot of the guys I work with are married, so there's definitely this tension that they find between, using porn as something that they do recreationally, and obviously how it impacts their marriages. And yeah, pretty much like most of the stories that they use are ones where it's negatively impacted their marriages and in their sex lives, and even beyond that into their church communities or whatever. So I think the idea I think what porn does is, like we said before, it kind of isolates people, and it kind of, when you're in a marriage and you're supposed to, get all your sexual needs from your marriage and with your spouse, then by going outside of that to look somewhere else, if you want to do that, that's fine. But I think what happens then is that when it comes to having sex with your wife or with your husband, you're less likely to be open with them and vulnerable with them because, you've already got your needs from somewhere else. You've already, in a way, you've had sex with someone else in your mind, and so you're less present, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
with your spouse.
It's like what Jesus said about if you look at a woman lustfully, you've already committed adultery with her in the heart. And I don't want to say that out of condemnation of like, because everyone has done it, everyone's done it, guys, ladies. But like you said, it is like you're having sex with someone who isn't your marriage partner.
Yeah, I think it was Paul maybe who wrote, like, he said that sexual sin, like no other sin, like it's kind of unique. And I think the reason he said that is because, one of the reasons he probably said that was just because it doesn't just affect you. It's not something that you can do and then just leave. Eventually, maybe it doesn't have an effect, right away, but eventually I think it'll hurt your spouse, and especially if your wife finds out or your husband finds out that you've been looking at porn, and that creates a whole lot of like trust issues, and then they start asking questions: is it something to do with me? Is that why you're looking at porn? And,
Yeah. It's like cheating on someone in your mind in a way, isn't it? Like it's not like it might not be physically going to a sex shop or a bar like a strip club, but it's like the same thing. So what about we've only got a few minutes left. I can't believe we've got so much to talk about. What about generally porn as, I would say, a false advert for sex? Like sex isn't really actually like you see in the movies with Ron Jeremy. Shout out to Ron Jeremy. What's your view on that? Like, that's another reason why porn is so, like, we'd say toxic. Like, it's a false advert, right?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of porn. If you go online, you look at porn. A lot of it's photoshopped. A lot of it's blemishes are kind of covered up, and all these kind of like imperfections. Well, imperfections that some people think are imperfections are covered up. But I think sex is best when it's not just something that you do because you're supposed to do it, but it's kind of like a culmination of your relationship with your spouse, and it's not something that you do to fix problems or kind of hide cracks, but it's something that is a kind of like celebration and something that's good and healthy. I think that's probably one of the reasons why we don't like to talk about sex so much, because you have to like have good marriages, I think, to have really good sex, and that's complicated, and relationships are messy, and so that just kind of forces us to go down routes and talk about things that we don't want to talk about.
Yeah, I think also maybe being open with the person you're going out with, whether it's marriage or just someone you go out with, is such a vulnerable thing, isn't it? Because as humans, we want to keep that mask, we want to keep that pride of saying, we've got it all together. Like I said before in the last segment, like as Christians, we can tend to maybe put on masks and say, on Sunday morning, put a smile on, make it's fake, like everything's actually going really rubbish, but you're saying, yeah, I'm fine. But actually, you might be struggling with porn, you might be struggling with something else. We've talked a lot about different issues on the show, and I think it's really good just to be out in the open, because I think once you put something in the light, I think this is actually from the Bible as well, you put something in the light, it has no power. Like, you take away its power, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think at the core for most of us, we just want to be known fully by someone and loved completely. And if there's stuff that we're hiding, someone might tell us that they love us no matter what, but if we have a secret that we're hiding or some kind of issue that we're struggling with, you can hear that all day long, but it can be really difficult to actually believe, because in your mind they don't know about this thing, which if they knew about would probably tip them over the edge, and they'd want to reject us and they'd want to leave us. So I think that's why actually being vulnerable with people and being open is actually like a real strength rather than a weakness, which is how it's often portrayed.
Definitely. I think we can rely on ourselves and be independent. I think, like you said, we're going to hide things because we don't want to get hurt. Maybe we've been hurt before, people are treading us. And actually being vulnerable and being open and saying, you know what, I actually do struggle with this, and you might, hurt me or mock me, but this is who I am. And I think, with Jesus, like, the whole message of, Jesus anyway, is that we're accepted. Well, Christ died for us while we were still sinners, right? Romans 5:8.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about having it all together. God doesn't say, got to clean up your addiction to porn or clean up your addiction to whatever it is, to come to me. Like, he loves you and accepts you, and that's the message of the cross. It's amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing. Yeah, you're right. I think, it's just that we're afraid that we doubt that love, we doubt that it's actually real, or that we always think to put clauses in to things like that, and we always think there's some sort of, but I'm different because I'm worse than other people, and that's just not true. And and I think the best way to kind of get a grip of that is to have relationships with other people in the community, and the more you do that, the more you are open to people. Even if you have, if you've been looking at porn every day for like a month, if you have people who you can go to with that, and they still accept you, they still love you, and they still tell you, it's okay. This isn't everything that's true about you. I think after a while, that kind of hits home, and it's a real game changer.
Absolutely. Well, Paul, time is running out, unfortunately, but it's been great having you on Awkward this week's show, talking about pornography, talking about something that we don't like to talk about. So thank you for being so honest and open. Would you be able to share some links, maybe your Twitter or maybe your blog or Triple X Church generally, to point people to?
Yeah, well, I think we could show people to the website, triplexchurch.com, so it's just xxxchurch.com. And if you go there, we have loads of resources that you can use. We're on Twitter and Facebook, Instagram. All our handles are the same, so it's X3 Church, and you can go there and connect with us there. And there's so many resources. You can find out about our software there, and there's loads of, like, you can leave comments and you can leave confessions, and you can even sign up for accountability there as well. So I would definitely go to xxxchurch.com.
Definitely, xxxchurch.com, and you can also follow Paul on Twitter, which is @PaulRobinson33. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
That's right, brilliant. And also, guys, the reason how I found Paul is his funny blog. Literally, it's hilarious, but he deals with things like, he talks about Nuts magazine, how, that's been, canned, and talking about other issues within, within the world and relating to his Christian faith. So you can go to paulrobinsonwrites.com, that's all one word, paulrobinsonwrites.com, for his blog. But in the meantime, it's been great having you on the show, Paul. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Brilliant. Well, I will talk to you soon, hopefully. This podcast, it will be a podcast, this show. So check out mixcloud.com/awkwardshow for previous episodes, and this one will be up in the next few weeks.